The Detroit Lions tied with the Arizona Cardinals last night, 27-27. And to a lot of people, it felt like a loss. But I'm here to tell you guys why not to panic for the Detroit Lions 2018 season. So let's get right into the video. So as most of you guys know me, you know me to be a pretty optimistic fan, okay? I try to be optimistic and make the best out of everything. So if you want to dislike me for that, that's fine. But here's my thing. I'm pretty optimistic. But in this video, I have a few reasons why you should not panic about the Detroit Lions tying in week 1 to the Arizona Cardinals. It's really not that bad if we look back at it and take a step back. So let's get right into the video. But the first point I have is that the Detroit Lions played great for the first 3 quarters. If we're being honest, they played great. The score was 24-6 for a reason. We played outstanding on both sides of the ball for not knowing really anything about this offense. For what ESPN said about us, we're going to lose that game 38-10. The fact that we're going to start 0-11. We were up in this game 24-6. We played a great game through 3 quarters. So if we're looking at overall, how well did we perform? Throughout the first 3 quarters, we performed great. We were an A grade, an A+, whatever you want to give it. We played really, really well going into the 4th quarter. Now, the 4th quarter, as we know, didn't go our way. And there was a few reasons for that. Number one, it was probably decision making. We made a couple of bad decisions. And unfortunately, this led to that. And we ended up tying that game with the Arizona Cardinals. But if we take a step back, we can understand that through 3 quarters of that game, we were clicking on all cylinders. Offensively, we looked great. Very, very balanced. Now, the running game did sputter a little bit, averaging just over 3 yards per carry, which needs to be better. But overall, we did play pretty well. We were mixed. We saw a lot from TJ Hockenson, who actually broke records in that tie to the Arizona Cardinals. And overall, we just played really, really well on both sides of the ball. But as we know, we did tie the game. The next thing I have is that the Lions did show some heart at the end of the game. Now, a lot of people want to say, okay, the Lions blew it, same old line, whatever you want to say. Look, I don't agree with you, but people are going to say that anyways. My thing is the Detroit Lions actually did show some heart at the end of that game. They showed a lot of pride at the end of that game, and they actually saved it from being a loss. That could have easily been a loss. The Lions gave up 18 straight unanswered points to the Arizona Cardinals. You don't have much confidence at that point. Then you go to overtime and Larry Fitzgerald catches a bomb. They are literally in position to score a touchdown, but our defense holds, gets 3 straight stops, forces a field goal attempt, and then when our offense gets the ball, we walk it all the way down the field pretty quickly, I should say. And if it wasn't for the great defense by Tremaine Brock, which usually I wasn't expecting to make that play on Galladay, he was in a great position, knocked the ball away from Kenny Galladay, which should have probably been a touchdown pass versus many other teams. Then we kicked the field goal. Matt Prater tied it up, okay? And then the Arizona Cardinals had another chance running the clock down to really get at least one kickoff to win the game. And they couldn't because our defense stepped up at midfield. When their backs were against the wall, they stood up and said, no, you're not going to get the game winner. So even though it doesn't look right, you have to understand that the Detroit Lions did show some heart there. I know it doesn't sound good me saying, well, they didn't lose. That's good. That's not necessarily good that we tied, but they did show some heart in saying, okay, we're going to hold them here. We are not going to lose this game. We are at least going to tie this game, I guess. The third reason. Kyler Murray was drafted number 1 for a reason, and a lot of people were believing that Kyler Murray was too short. Some people believed he would be great. Whatever you may think, I don't know what to expect from the Arizona Cardinals this year. Some people think they're going to be the worst team. I don't know. I think that's Miami Dolphins, okay? I think that's pretty much settled. Miami Dolphins are the worst team in the league. They just lost by like 50 in week 1. Miami Dolphins are the worst team, so I wouldn't even give them that. I don't know how good they're going to be this season. I guess we'll just have to wait and see down the line. But either way, they drafted him number 1 for a reason. This guy, not only is he athletic and mobile, but he's a confident, calm quarterback, and that's something that he showed against the Detroit Lions, and you have to give him credit where credit is due there. Now, do I believe the Lions should have put pressure on him more? Yes, I think that was a decision that we made that was a wrong decision. But again, hindsight is 2020. I could go back and say that, but at the time, you know, when you're up by that big, you kind of think, okay, let's just play conservative. Don't give up big play, because if you play aggressive and they get one big play, that could change momentum. You would think we were playing well enough that, hey, we're covering well, we're getting pretty much pressure without having to send too much. We should be fine here. Unfortunately, that's not how it worked out. But as we know, Kyler Murray was the number 1 draft pick for a reason. He was calm, and I have to give him credit for that. They were down in a big hole, and he played pretty calm throughout the entire game, and he really did charge that comeback versus our defense. Now, again, we did play too conservative, but at the time, I can understand why the Lions were playing like that. Looking back on it, we can all say, oh, they didn't play aggressive enough. These coaches need to be fired, but it's not that easy to make that decision during the game. The final reason I have is when it comes down to it at the end of the day, when you look back on week 1 and when the season is over and we look back to the regular season and we see week 1, we're going to see a T. We're going to see a tie. That's it. I mean, the fact is that it doesn't matter how you won. It doesn't matter if we came back from 24-0. It doesn't matter if we blew a 24-0 point lead, which we almost did. And tying the game means what it does, okay? We tied. We move on. It wasn't a loss, which is a good thing. It wasn't a win, which is not a good thing. But when it comes down to it, we tied the game. And no matter how you want to feel emotionally, you have to take a step back and understand, look, the Cardinals may be happy because they made that comeback, but they have the same record as us. They're nowhere ahead of us in any kind of playoff rankings. We both tied. So for that being said, I'm not really worried about it, right? It's a tie game. We just have to emotionally move on. And honestly, us as fans, we can emotionally be upset because we are the fans. But for the team, they can't think about this game anymore. Move on. You tied. Don't think about how you tied. Don't act as it's like a loss. Once this day is over, which it is over, Sunday is over, move on. Go into the Chargers. Go into the Chargers knowing we are 0-1. We're tied. Nothing hurt. Nothing is gone. None of our chances are gone. Even if we were lost, none of our chances would have been gone. But you tied. It wasn't even like you lost the game. Nothing is hurt, right? Things happen. Sometimes we make great comebacks against teams. They feel the same way. If you guys can remember, the Detroit Lions have been through this before. Go back to 2016. The Lions started 1-3 on the season. What did they do that season? They actually made it to the playoffs, finishing 9-7. Well, how'd they do that? They went on a huge game winning streak. They were 9-4 at one point in that season after starting 1-3. It's not impossible to get out of a hole, and we didn't really put ourselves in a hole. For all the people that are saying, oh, we dug ourselves a hole, we did not dig ourselves a hole. We tied. If we would have lost, that's tough, but we tied, okay? And you were on the road. So it's not like we lost or tied at home. We tied on the road, which is not a bad thing to do at all. Next week, play the Chargers, protect our home field, right? But we tied the game on the road. I can't be too mad about that. If you would have said, oh, here's your result, you tied, I'd be like, dang, I wish we would have won, but okay. It is what it is. Watching the game, I think it's easier to get more emotional and upset. Like, dang, we blew this lead, but it happens to everybody, okay? Blowing leads. We've came back tons of times versus teams like this. You guys remember when we beat Atlanta? We were down 21-0 at half. How do you think those fans felt? They probably felt terrible, right? But at the same time, now we go through it. But we didn't even lose this game. We tied this game. So I don't think we should be that upset. It's okay. We tied. We move on. And for people that want to say, oh, if we can't beat the Cardinals, then we can't beat anybody. That's not true. First of all, every single game is different. It is not like that in the NFL. Things carry over. And you want a perfect example? Go back to last season. It's a perfect example. Week 1 versus the Jets, what do? We go out there and we absolutely get destroyed. We get waxed. Whatever you want to say, whatever kind of adjective, adverb, I don't know. Whatever you want to describe it as, we got destroyed by the Jets. Then what happens? A few weeks later, we beat the Patriots by 16. So it doesn't make any sense. And everybody can tell you last season, yeah, the Patriots were better than the Jets, right? Because they won the Super Bowl. So with that being said, so me saying that, it's not like that. It's not going to mean that because we barely beat the Cardinals, we can't beat the Chargers, we can't beat the Chiefs. Yes, we can. That's how football works. Football is not like that, and I'm glad it's not like that. It's not all about numbers. It's about pride. It's about how you play. It's about how you go out and handle your business. That's why it's not a 7-game series. That's why the playoffs are 1 game. You make 1 game, you go win that game. You have 1 opportunity to do it, and that's why the playoffs are so intriguing. That's why March Madness is so great, because you don't have the big series. That's why you'll never see a 16-1 upset if it was a 7-game series. It doesn't happen. But we did see it one time now. Virginia lost as a 1 seed. Why? Because there's only 1 game. And you can make it happen. And with the fact that none of these guys are in a division, it's not like the Chiefs are in a division, not like the Chargers are in a division. They're actually both in the AFC. They don't see us a lot. So this is a team that we can definitely go out there and beat. It's not going to be like that. And I will have a preview coming out for the Chargers versus Lions. Just understand, we tied the game. When we look back at it, nothing is lost here. We tied. The only thing that's lost, we can't go 16-0. And honestly, that's not big of a deal to me. That's not a very big deal. So the tie could actually be a blessing in disguise if we somehow get into playoffs because of the tie. Don't take it as the Lions tied the Cardinals, they can't beat anybody, because that's not true. That's just not how football works. If it was how football works, last season we would have lost pretty much every single game, right? Because we can't lose to the Jets by like 40 points and then go beat the Patriots. That doesn't make any sense. And if you guys, I don't even know how you could go against that. We'll be fine. We'll be fine against the Chargers. We'll be fine against the Chiefs. We're going to be a good team. We are a good team. If you can look back and take a step back at that game, we played well. This was a better team than last season, and you could tell it was just a few decisions. I mean, it was really a few decisions that cost us the game. You can be upset, like, hey, damn, we should have won this game. But if we take a step back, we can understand, okay, this team isn't that bad. We're a pretty good team. We were a good team in this game. Just fix a couple decisions, play a little bit better a few positions, maybe don't get so many holding flags. Other than that, we played fine. We tied the game. Just try to take out the emotional aspect, but you can because you're a fan. But for the Lions, take that away. Forget about it. You tied, you move on. Now let's go beat the Chargers. Anyways, that's just my thoughts. Don't panic, guys. Like Aaron Rodgers said back in 2014 when they started off 1-2 and ended up winning the division, going 12-4 because they beat us. Relax. Thank you, Prod, for watching, and I'm out.